So Annie, I am recording the session. Thank you very much for letting me do that. And some people can learn more about how coaching supervision works. So is it okay still for me to record this session?
Absolutely, and thank you for this opportunity.
And I'm going to ask you at the end of the session, just in case that something comes up and you don't want me to share that, it's going to be okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, good. And so what would you like to work on in supervision today?
I have an interesting case for you.
Okay.
And I was thinking really hard today and for the last 3 days about this coaching relationship that I have with my clients. It is a client that I work from time to time for the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have a long-lasting, great relationship. I think rapport is great. We have trust, and it's been very productive. I'm happy with the results that client is having. Everything is great, but I have this feeling that I'm not growing in this relationship. For some reason, the client is very talkative, and she needs her own space. In most of the coaching session we had, I don't know how many questions to ask. They have chance to ask her, and I know this model is working for her, but there's part of me that thinks that I'm not really developing as a coach in this relationships. I don't really see my growth, because it's a long-term relationship, right? And you want to see you're developing as well with your client. So I would like to explore today maybe what is holding me back, or maybe what is the potential of such relationship, or what is actually going on.
Okay. Where would you like to start? Where do you think is a good start to start exploring the relationship?
I'm thinking that there's something hidden in a psychological contract in such relationships. I feel that I'm given more as a person rather than a coach, but maybe it's my limited belief. I'm not sure. So I'm not comfortable with myself as a coach in this relationship. Even I'm happy with results, everything is great, but I don't see a huge contribution coming from my side as a coach. Mm-hmm. In my mind, client does the work, herself most of the time. Of course, I'm creating the space, I'm clarifying the contract, we're tracking the progress. I'm kind of doing things as a coach, but I don't know if I'm really fully present in that partnership, and I don't really know. So I'm not sure where to start, if you ask me.
What I am hearing is that there is an expectation about you growing and learning from each client, and that may be not happening with this client, and there may be something missing in this. Even though she's getting the results, something is missing about who you are being with her as a coach.
Correct.
What do you think about that question?
Who I'm being as a coach.
And if there is any that, and what may be missing in working with her that you feel you're not growing?
I'm not a full partner, if I would say it this way. I feel I am allowing her being her way, leading the coaching session her way, without fully partner up with her. I don't think I'm sharing as much as I want. or sometimes if I would have insight or my intuition will tell me something, sometimes I will make decision not to, because I can see it. She's in the process, she's in the flow, she's going, it's working for her. So there is a question for me, like, what is actually going on in that moment? Is it just me making decision not doing that? Or is it just me allowing her be that way? Or what is actually going on? So I think what is missing, in my opinion, is full participation on my side. Sometimes even I'm thinking that I'm very, I create this distance, so I'm kind of observing what's going on, how the client is leading the session. And I don't know if I'm really here and now, or just observing what she's doing and allowing her being there. And from time to time asking questions. Yeah.
Caught my attention when you talk about this full partnership, fully partnering. And if you fully partner with her, what would look differently?
What's coming up for me is that most of the time we work on her work and life balance, or her strategic goals in her. She's a businesswoman who owns different businesses, so she's always developing and growing and going through a lot of things. I'm thinking if I would be fully present for her, she would have this here and now experience, to slow down and to reflect more. She's very proactive. She's very talkative. She's a decision person. But at the same time, she's very deep in her thought process. So I'm thinking about maybe if I would step in more, it would be more balanced for her in the way she communicates or in the way she processes things. Maybe it would be more time for her to think in a different form, or to pause for a second and reflect a different direction. Even though I personally think that she's really brilliant thinker, and usually she tries to see situation from different angles.
So maybe pausing can be one of the possibilities, but maybe there is something else.
Yeah.
I wonder what's happening here between us about fully partnering.
I was observing your face, and I was thinking you smile at me. So I thought, interesting. I needed that smile. I needed some support here.
Okay. Okay. You were not feeling supported before? Like, was too serious?
Oh, no. I always, but while talking about that, somehow I felt like now it's first time I'm talking about this situation, and it seems like since it's such a long-term project for me, in a way, this relationship, and this kind of relationship are the same. It means to me that whatever I'm thinking to do or was thinking to change, it didn't work. I mean, it's still there. It's still unresolved. So it seems like I need some support, be a different perspective. How can I look at it? Or maybe I don't see things, or
I was wondering how the parallel processes, how in our dynamic here, maybe repeating some patterns in the relationship with your own client. Anything comes up for you?
well, let me think. Yeah, it's kind of funny in a way. because you really gave me here some space to share, right? To express myself and situation, and I feel really good talking, right? But at the same time, I feel like, oh, maybe Damian can tell me something more, give his opinion, share his wisdom, or his own experience. That would be nice. So that's what I'm thinking about, and maybe she's thinking that way too. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just an idea. Yeah.
When I was listening to you, I was wondering if, and I could relate to that working with you here and now, is what is the extent that I challenge you?
Not really, to be honest.
Yeah, so I see that may be the pattern, that may be the opportunity to explore in the here and now how I can be listening to you and giving you the space for reflection, but I may not be challenging you to go further. And maybe this possibility that something like that is happening between you and your client when you are providing support to her, and she is thinking and getting results, and there is maybe a possibility that what may be missing is that level of your own participation, your own sharing maybe some of your ideas, or challenging her to go further, doing something we're not doing.
That's a great observation. I like it.
Okay.
I'm thinking right now about, for some reason, I never thought of that before. It's about the energy. Usually when we work together, with such in mind, like we're thinking partners, and she thinks so much. And sometimes I feel the energy is kind of really heavy, even though it may be not heavy for her, but it's heavy for me. Mm-hmm. And maybe there is a part of me that is waiting when it's going to stop. this heaviness in relationship. Yeah, so maybe I can, this is an opportunity for me to challenge, so to make the thinking process not that heavily, just to change something in that energy. Because it can be exhausting, like thinking that much. And usually we talk about life-changing strategic decision or work corporation changing, and I can see it can be tiresome. It can be heavy. And yeah, I'm curious, what is there for us?
So what do you think you can do with this curiosity?
Well, obvious, and first of all, what comes to mind is maybe just to have a conversation with her. Not in a coaching session directly, but maybe have a strategic one, and just share my feedback and observations and concern, just to speak openly and to see what will happen. Maybe we can come up with a different format. I can assume that she got used to a specific format of our relationship. How do I show up? And maybe it's also a habit from some perspective for her. And she has some expectation, how do I behave? And maybe we can come up with a different, strategy in a way that, okay, coaching was this style for a while, but now we are changing. And it's okay. And see.
I think what you said before about psychological contract.
Correct.
In terms of expectations, what are the expectations from each other about how you're going to working together?
Yes.
That you may clarify with her. And I was also present to your comment at the beginning that it's not only about the growth of your client, but your own growth.
Absolutely.
And relating, going back to your own growth. Do you want to go there? Do you think that would be a good place? together to explore that?
Please challenge me, Damian.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering what is what you need, because it seems that in some way your client needs may be met.
Yeah.
Maybe your client is growing and developing and getting results, and it may be comfortable. And one possible scenario is that you are not maybe challenging her enough. She's staying in the comfortable place, like what was happening here between us.
Yeah, right.
Taking you from the comfortable to a little bit more uncomfortable place that make you look at things from a different perspective.
Correct.
And I'm wondering about what your needs and your needs of growth can be met, being understanding that they may be different than the needs of your client, that your needs of your client may be met already, and then there is something that you need differently. But it's your need, not necessarily your client's need.
Yeah, correct. But also what I'm thinking right now, you make me think, is that if we are a part of one system, very close system, me and her, me as a coach, she is my client, then if I have this desire, this need to move forward with my own development, it's not surreal. It's very real for me, and maybe that's what our relationship, need. Maybe there is a need there. How can I? In a way, this situation mimics some other situation in my life and some other relationship when I'm very procedure oriented. If I start with something, I keep following the rules and patterns. So changing things that I already established sometimes is challenging. So in a way, to have this conversation and to resolve it and act upon new, solution would be a challenge for me to stretch. It is definitely out of my comfort zone. I'm curious and I need it. I feel like I need it for some reason, because otherwise, if I would be honest, I would rather stop such relationship as they are right now, versus not acting. So it is important to act. Otherwise, I think we need somehow to finish such relationships. It's not any more healthy for me, I think, because for the last 4 years, I've been developing so much, but somehow with that client, we kept the same paradigm of relationships the way we are. And it's not my shoes anymore. And yeah.
And it brings us other question is when is the right time to end a coaching relationship?
Correct. Because if I assume that she comes back to work with me because I provide something in our psychological contract, that, and she feels that I can fulfill that need, what if I'm not longer the source for that? I'm not longer offering that, kind of interesting.
So we need to start wrapping up the conversation. And what are you now from everything we talk about the relationship with these clients? We explore this issue of fully partnering and being here now and challenging, and your growth and your client growth and your own growth.
Yeah, what I'm thinking right now, Damian, is the outcome that for some reason I feel that the need for growth is not just coming from me, but from the client. Even she's not verbalizing, I'm going to talk to her openly, and maybe we will just reconsider our 4-year long-term relationship and how else can we be as a client and as a coach to create this challenge. How can we challenge each other in a healthy way, and then see if she wants something that I cannot fulfill. Maybe I would rather end this relationship or refer her to another coach. Or if we'll find the solution way out, that's great. So I think I'm very clear right now about actually what I'm going to do with this, and that and whatever it would be, I would be ready for that.
Do you need anything else to be able to be ready and do that?
I'm looking at it on my phone. So after we'll wrap up, I think I will text her.
Okay. Anything else that you need from our conversation today before we finish?
No, I'm just very grateful. Thank you, Damian. I think I got a very systemic way of my own course of development and with this client, and it's very interesting. I never thought about finishing such relationship if if there's no reason to continue. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to learn and challenge myself.
Well, we had in this conversation only like a brief session, 20 minutes. If we would have more time, the question that would come up for me would be, if you look like from a drone perspective and you put some distance and you look at your relationship, what do you see? If there is anything else that you may see that we have not explored yet?
Our relationship or
your relationship with your clients. If you put a little bit of distance and you see that, I think that was missing in our conversation before we finished. If anything has come up for you, if you put a little bit of distance and look at the relationship.
Well, maybe the question about, I love your perspective on challenge. What's going on with challenge? Am I challenging like myself enough, herself enough, people around me enough? And then the question comes up for me, when are you ready for challenge? Is she ready? Does she want that? Do we all need it? Yeah. So I think I would explore more challenge as an aspect of coaching.
Because I think that here, there are the two aspects that you clearly define is challenge your client in terms of your relationship with your client, but then in terms of your own personal growth, it's challenging yourself.
Correct.
And maybe challenging yourself is challenging the client.
Definitely.
That can be something else. That can be other things too that relates to challenging yourself. One may be challenging your client, but maybe other ways that you can challenge yourself so you can keep growing and learning that you felt missing working with her.
Correct. Yeah. And right now I'm starting to think about other relationship I have. Like, is it, do I fall into the same pattern? Yeah. So it's a good idea to explore it more.
We keep exploring. Maybe next session we can keep exploring.
Yeah. But then I also believe we learn by experience. I think after talking to her, and I really want to do that.
And maybe as a good exercise, if you want to, optional, is to think between sessions the difference between the coaching relationship where you feel you grow and the one that you feel you do not grow.
Interesting. It's a good idea. I'm going to write it down. Thank you.
And I really appreciate your time here with us today. And is it okay still for me to share this recording for?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Damian.
Anything last thing you want to say, Anya, before we finish?
No. I just think whoever is going to listen to this supervision demo session, I think supervision is really resourceful, and for coaches who are at the beginning of their coaching career or for experienced coaches, and it gives really food to think about. And so highly recommend it.
Great, thank you, Anya.
Thank you.
Stop the recording now.